Welcome to Coaches on a Mission. I'm Dallas Travers, and this show is all about helping you, a values-driven coach, build a business you're really proud of. So we are dropping some bonus episodes this week for a couple of reasons. Number one, I really want to help you learn some of the lessons that I have experienced this year, just observing what's happened inside of the Hive, and of course, doing the work inside of my own business. So on Monday, we really talked about the importance of solving the right problems. On Tuesday, we talked about the value of centering the client whenever you feel stuck instead of centering yourself. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite thing, which is habits. I love habits. They are so boring and uncool, but they are actually the reason why I have been in business for 21 years and why I've been able to, over that time, completely change my business 3 times and changing my audience, starting from scratch, the whole deal. I've done that. I've had 3 different businesses. So I guess the change has happened twice, right? And been able to essentially, when it comes to revenue, pick up where I left off, even with a brand new business, because I relied on the same habits over and over and over again. So if you know me at all, you are not surprised. Of course, I'm talking about habits, and I am going to make a bold claim right here and now. Habits are sexy and slow is actually fast. Let that be your mantra for 2023. Here's a picture I would like to paint for you. How many times have you said to yourself, what more should I be doing? How many times have you gotten to like the 12th of the month and a client tells you they're going to wrap up and suddenly you're panicked? What am I going to do to find another client? So we whip up some sort of solution which either works or doesn't work, but regardless, we can't build on that solution because we're too busy being busy instead of actually building a business here. I'll say that again, we're too busy being busy instead of actually building a business here. So what we need are habits. What we need is a strategy built on habits rather than the next fancy tactic that we might download for free from the internet or learn in a webinar or learn from someone's carousel post on Instagram. You don't need more tactics. What you need is a stackable strategy, and that's where habits come in. Why is this important? For so many reasons. The biggest one truly is your confidence, your staying power. When you focus on stackable habits, guess what? Your success also becomes stackable. You can build on it. So you don't feel like you have accidental clients. What are accidental clients? Like you have 2 clients and they're awesome and you don't really know how they came to you. More please, but like, how do I repeat that? You're never left worrying about, what's my whip up strategy this month? And instead, you can fall back on your tried and true system. Habits are sexy and slow is fast. So when I say slow is fast, what do I actually mean? I wish I had $1 for every coach I met who like tried to skip a step, not because they're lazy, but in fact, because they work really hard and they've been sold this idea of scalability and your life experience is your message and is your course. And you can use that to create a course and then make 6 figures a month. Oh, that's like the first chapter and the last chapter of a 27 chapter book, my friend. And it hurts my heart when I meet these coaches because their confidence has taken a beating. You know, they were in a program about running a 5-day challenge, and then that boom, 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 you have a 5-day challenge, and then you have an audience and you've got all these clients when, you know, who's going to come to your 5-day challenge if they don't know about your business? So it can be really, or the worst, now I'm just complaining, but the worst one is putting all this energy into a summit, right? And the summit, there's a caveat to this that I need to be really, really clear about. So sidebar, there is one person out there who's teaching summits really, really thoughtfully, and that is Marisa Corcoran. But the traditional summit strategy is get as many people in as possible. And don't even worry if you don't have an offer. Don't even worry if you don't know your niche. Get the people in first, and then you can whip up some sort of offer to sell them. So you might do a summit. You may or may not get subscribers on your list, but they are not likely to be aligned subscribers. So now you feel like something's broken inside of you, when in fact, these are like get rich quick schemes in a lot of ways. And what we need instead are habits. So again, I want to be clear. I've run 5-day challenges. I've hosted a summit. I've run Facebook ads. I've done all the things. I've designed plenty of courses. There's a time and a place for all of that stuff. And it's not in the beginning, my friends. That stuff works best when you have habits in place that you can build on. You cannot build a business. You cannot build a business on tactics alone. You need a stackable strategy. I'm yelling right now, and I realize that, but I'm very passionate about this. All right, so recently, this was so interesting because this is like another version of how this mistake shows up for us. So another Hive member, I don't know if I've used the name Barney yet or not this week, but we're going to go with Barney. Betty and Wilma and Fred and Pebbles have already been taken, I think. So Barney, here we go. Barney, inside the Hive, he was on like week 2 of Client Surge. Week 2 of Client Surge is so uncomfortable because you've put all of this prep work in, you've begun your surge, and then week 2 is kind of this week where you wait and see how people respond, and it can feel very uncomfortable, and it can easily open the door to, okay, I got to fix something, something's broken, what am I doing wrong? When in fact, you're right on time, and you just got to give people a beat, right, and follow up according to the surge schedule. So here Barney was in that uncomfortable week 2. Barney came to a coaching call, and he said, okay, so Client Surge is going, and it's uncomfortable and I haven't heard back from anyone yet. So I want to talk about my signature system, which is in a totally different course inside of the Hive, in order to avoid the discomfort of following through on a strategy, being in the unknown, the messy middle as we follow through on a strategy. Barney just thought, this doesn't feel good. Client Surge probably isn't going to work at all. Let me go and distract myself with this other thing. You spend a year doing that, and you have nothing to show for it other than headaches. We've all done it. We want this so badly. Of course, we crave control. So we're going to change our minds too quickly. We're going to be really busy for the sake of being busy rather than residing in the unknown so we can make strategic decisions. So here's what happened with Barney. Poor Barney. I kind of on the call refused to coach him on his signature system. I'm like, let's save that for when your Client Surge is over, and instead take all of the creative energy you would put into your signature system and funnel it into how you follow through. And funnel it into what you're doing on social. Like, how can we amplify your surge process? Because you're still in that strategy rather than getting distracted by a completely different topic. So Barney, because he's so incredibly coachable and really committed to his own success, agreed to reside in the discomfort of Client Surge that middle week. We had a call the following week, and I just checked in. And because he stayed in that discomfort, he realized, oh my gosh, I have this huge community of possible referral ambassadors. They are my dream clients. I hadn't even thought of them. And he likely would not have thought of them if he had gone and distracted himself from the discomfort by going and doing this other thing. We are all guilty of this. And that's because we're seeking out the next tactic instead of following a stackable strategy. What is a stackable strategy? It's habits. With our habits, our success becomes stackable. It becomes measurable, and most importantly, it becomes repeatable, which is where scalability comes in. So in Monday, we talked about scalability. Scaling is growing without feeling hampered. You want to grow and feel hampered? Build your business on tactics. If you want to really scale, build your business on habits. So the online industry perpetuates this idea of the overnight success, and that is false. Can it happen? I know a lot of coaches and course creators, a lot. Hundreds, really. And I can think of one who that was true for. One. She's a unicorn. For most of us, we spend the first 2 years in our business chasing tactics, wondering what's wrong with us, trying a bunch of things, finishing nothing, starting over all the time. Then we realize, wait a second, maybe there's something to this idea of building, stacking, moving a little more slowly, being more strategic. And that's where we start to experience traction. We experience mini wins, we build on those wins, and then we build something that we're really, truly proud of. I know it's not that exciting, but at the same time, it is so very satisfying. It's incredibly satisfying. So how do we put this in place? I do want to remind you that we have a handful of spots still open in the Hive. When you join us, you get these cool bonuses, this beautiful journal. You'll get to run through Client Surge with us in January, live together. You can come to the retreat. You're going to lock in the special pricing. So all of that happens. But one of the very specific elements of the Hive that will help you build on habits and rely on a proven strategy is our use of scorecards. Let me tell you what scorecards are. We'll back it up here. Step 1 is a strategy that you can implement on. Okay? And that strategy is not a hodgepodge of internet freebies that you've downloaded. It's a proven system that's been tested, that's been refined, that has staying power. Number 2, as you implement on that system, you follow a scorecard. A scorecard measures your progress. It breaks the strategy down into separate steps. Every part of your lead gen process, your sales process, your course launch process, so that you can then identify where in that process things are breaking down. So this completely relates to the bonus episode we did on Monday, where I talked about the ripple effect system, right? And how often we just start from scratch instead of building things out in layers. Same is true with the importance of habits. If you try, I'm just making something up here. Oh, I'm going to do a mini workshop. I've been hearing about that lately. I'm going to do a mini workshop. So you throw a mini workshop together, put it out in the world, and no one signs up for it, or 2 people sign up for it, or whatever, right? It would be so easy to say, oh, okay, that didn't work. Let me go take this 21-day Reels challenge and see if that becomes my business. Instead of looking at the different elements of the mini workshop strategy to understand where things went sideways. So this is where scorecards come in. Scorecards help you stay accountable to the hard stuff. It helps your VA stay accountable to the hard stuff, and it makes sure that you fix what's broken instead of breaking your entire system. So we have scorecards for our client search process, for our course launch process, and for all of our list building habits. And they are such a lifesaver. For me, they're the thing that make me feel like a boss, right? Look at me. I have numbers. I know what's happening in my business. I know where to course correct. So back to the steps for you. Following and implementing on a strategy. Number 1, course correcting instead of starting over by relying on a scorecard. And then the last piece here is having support and accountability, because building an online business is hard. Anyone telling you otherwise is not giving you the full picture. It's like those Lexus commercials, right? Where they're driving on this cliffside and it's so beautiful and they're driving so fast and look at the control this car has. And then in the fine print, it says, professional driver, do not attempt this at home. That's my recommendation for running your online business, right? Like, don't do this alone because we don't have enough perspective. And without perspective, we're kind of left chasing tactics rather than building our stackable business on stackable strategies. I'll give you one more story to illustrate this before we wrap up. Just a reminder that if you are like listening along, nodding your head, it's probably a sign that the Hive is the perfect home for you. Please join us. You can apply at dallastravers.com/hive. So I'm thinking of another example of the importance specifically of scorecards, but this is all related to habits. So we had, we'll call this person Bam Bam, and now we are done with the Flintstones, thank God. So Bam Bam was also running through client search and was feeling really frustrated because they weren't getting as many sales calls booked as they wanted. And we could have so easily, Bam Bam could have changed their niche. Bam Bam could have quit searching. Bam Bam could have done any number of things. But because we were tracking on a scorecard, we saw where the breakdown was happening. Bam Bam had referral ambassadors who said yes, they would send referrals. And then Bam Bam did not follow up with those people. And guess who didn't follow through on sending referrals? Their referral ambassadors. That's one tiny step in the whole search process. But because we were tracking and able to isolate it, there was an easy fix. Bam Bam put on their like brave boots and followed up on referral ambassadors because Bam Bam centered the clients, right, instead of themselves. And then appointments started coming in. It would have been really easy for Bam Bam to decide that client search didn't work, when in fact, there was just a broken part of the funnel. 9 times out of 10, this is what's true, especially if the strategy is values aligned, right? 9 times out of 10, there's just a broken step in the process. And we think we have to go find a brand new tactic when instead what we need to do is follow through on our strategy. And it's a scorecard that helps you follow through. Okay, that was really fun. I love talking about habits. I'd love to hear your takeaways. So hit me up on Instagram. I'm Dallas Travers Biz Mentor. I'd love to hear from you. And more importantly, I would love to welcome you into the Hive before this year is through. You can apply now and book a call with me, and we can get that process started. You can do that at dallastravers.com/apply. Thanks for tuning in. We've got another episode tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to look at your mindset again and really examine how doing it wrong is actually the first step toward getting things right. I'll see you then.